All right, there we go. Hello everyone, how's it going? Team here, and this is BXJS livestream. And man, that's been way too long since I've said those words, but I am happy to be back. And this is a first stream in quite a while, and today, first of all, streaming on new machine with new setup, new pretty much everything. So if there are any issues, please do let me know. Second of all, we are going to be diving into a freshly released library called Remix, which is React framework essentially, similar to what Next.js does, but from slightly different angle. And my understanding is that it basically gives you more freedom. So I'm pretty hyped for that. As far as I remember, it was made by the same people who did the React router, which is, at least was one of my favorite routers before Next.js became sort of, one thing to solve everything. So I'm very curious to see how the framework from those people would look. If you see the M. Jackson and Ryan Florence is essentially the two top contributors. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I've seen their announcements, I've seen the website, and I'm quite curious to see how this will play out. So basically, Next.js is a great framework, but it has its limitations, and occasionally it does, some things take quite some time to work out, basically. Let's just put it this way. So I am pretty curious to see if the Remix is gonna alleviate some of that pain, maybe for some use cases. So let's just, I guess, dive in and check it out. So I'm going to create an exploring Remix repository, right? I guess for now, just a folder. Git init this, and we're going to see, probably that was a bad idea because, yeah, there is a create command line, create Remix command line, and we can just use that, I guess. So let's go with a quick start. Why not? So yes, okay, so that was too rash. Let me just kill the remix folder. We are gonna run create remix and just go with that. Yes, please install it. Let's have a look what it does. So okay, that's pretty fancy. Where would you like to create your app? So exploring remix is what we want, right? Okay, so what do we want? Where do you want to deploy? Right, this was one of the things that looked really cool, at least from the preview materials that the Remix people shared. One of the ways to deploy this is to very edge of infrastructure, basically Cloudflare Workers that are incredibly fast. Like you get few milliseconds response time from, well, anywhere basically on the globe where the Cloudflare works. It's insane. I'm not going to try that today, but it's really cool that this is basically an option, and they just tell you, hey, we're just going to scaffold it for you. That's pretty great. Also supportive for Lambda out of the box is pretty cool as well. So like if you ever use Next.js, you kind of have to handle all of that yourself. It's not particularly hard, but you still require some additional manual work essentially. Let's just go with the Remix app server and see how that goes. Let's go with TypeScript because why not? And yes, run npm install for me because I am lazy. All right. So the chat is quiet so far. I mean, let me just open the YouTube chat because there we go. Yes. Hello, cutie cat. Welcome to the stream. So YouTube is complaining about keyframe frequency. Maybe I misconfigured some of that stuff. People watching, how's the how's the stream quality? Is there like any issues or anything like that? Do let me know if there's something wrong, please, because again, this is the first stream with a new setup, and I want to know if anything is off basically. Okay, I did not create Git repository, so let's do this. Hi Manuel, welcome to the stream. Hi Bruno, welcome to the stream. All right, so we did that. Let me just quickly commit. Let's just call it initial app scaffold. Right. Hey Nafal, welcome to the stream. Happy to see you guys again as well. That's been way too long, as I said. Like I really I kind of missed that, to be honest. So let me just dock this over here. Yes, I trust the people who did this repository because it was me. Okay, so even though it's TypeScript, it still requires the JavaScript config, I guess. So maybe because the Remix, I guess that's understandable, right? So you need to read the config in some language, and this is dynamically read. It's going to be JavaScript, so they don't include compiler or anything like that. Okay, cool. It's important that you pick remix. Okay, we already did that. That's perfectly fine. Your first routes. Add a link to posts in app root tsx. Okay, so we got this root tsx. So let me just make it a bit bigger for you guys. There you go. All right, so I'm guessing this is basically it doesn't work the same way the Next.js work, as in you have the file-based route resolution, right? So you have to manually add routes, it seems, which is still fine. So if it gives you more flexibility, that is perfectly reasonable. Let's try to go through the document and see what is actually in here. Yes, King. Oh God. Okay, let me try to read your username, King Raghava. This is indeed JavaScript, or in this case, TypeScript. Julian, welcome. Yes, I'm glad to be back as well. I am still I really want to bring back the weekly JavaScript news. The only problem is that I don't want to manually collect them, basically, but I'm hoping to finish that machine learning thingy classifier at some point. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we can even do it before end of this year. Fingers crossed. Let's see how that goes. All right. Anyway, let's have a look at what the root TSX looks like. So we got a bunch of remix function classes, whatever. We got styles. So I guess it comes with styles, some default styles. So there's some dark styles, which is kind of nice. This is links array, which is exports a function that returns an array of objects that map to the attributes for HTML link elements. Okay, so this is how you define your header, essentially, right? So all the style sheets, all the fonts, or whatever the hell you want to throw in there. I guess it's fine. I mean, yeah, that's pretty flexible, right? So that means you can do whatever the hell you want with it. Okay, cool. So then we got our app, which is the root module. Export is a component that renders the current route via the outlet. Okay, so this is our basically children is going to be here, right? So you got your document and layout, which I assume is what is defined below as the wrappers. Okay, so in this case, that means that if you want a custom document or custom whatever, it's very easy to do. So I remember Next.js in the very beginning didn't actually give you a way to do that, which was a pretty major pain in the ass. Now it's quite easy there as well, but it's pretty cool to see that this is here from the very beginning. There's also live reload component if you need the development bit. That's pretty good as well. All right, and then the layout, I assume, is just your basic layout with some navigational header and some other stuff. Okay, cool. And there's the children. Okay, so yeah, that's very straightforward. We got the catch boundary. So I guess this is the React error boundaries, right? So it's just hey, we're gonna catch the errors for you. There's the additional error boundary. Okay, yeah, sure. That's straightforward. And then there's the remix logo in SVG. That's fine. Route change announcement provides an alert for screen reader users when the route changes. Okay, this is some accessibility stuff. It's great to see that out of the box, but this is something I never worked with, so I cannot tell you anything about that. So we're just going to ignore that for now. All right, well, so far it's pretty straightforward. That looks like your plain React with some additional custom classes, essentially. So let's have a look. All right, so they say to add a link to the posts and then create a new file. Okay, so it is file-based routing, or because I didn't see any route definition or anything like that, right? So we got this index TS6. So I guess it is file-based definition, right? So let's try adding this link and see how that goes. So here we got this home remix. Okay, so we can just throw in here and just say, okay, this is gonna be posts, right? Let's do it this way, save it. Okay, so they doesn't seem like they have what do you call it, pre-tier RC or anything like that. So my pre-tier reformatted slightly different, which I mean I guess is not a big deal, but I mean a bit annoying that you have to reformat that. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's just a tiny nitpick of mine. I guess it's my own fault for using prettier with custom config, basically. Maybe the default config doesn't do that. Okay, anyway. Hi, Marina. Welcome to the stream. All right, continuing. We create posts index TSX, right? So we got this thing. We're going to create a file. All right, that's our file. Okay, yeah, so we can do this in terminal as well, but that's fine. Yeah, right. So let's throw in. So this thing is essentially just a React component. So this is very similar to the way Next.js does it, right? So you just define, you create a new file, you define a new default export component that renders something, and you're basically done. Loading data. Ah, yes, this is where it gets interesting. Okay. So, okay, so let me just, let me just copy the whole thing and we can walk through it over here. All right, so we got loader data. Okay, interesting. What is that? Use loader data, posts, console log post. So what is, okay, so it exports. Oh, so I guess you define a loader that does something and then you can use a hook that will somehow automatically trigger that. Is that how it works? Data loading is built into Remix. Love that. Like, Next.js also has quite a few primitives to work with data loading, but they are mostly server-side things. So like if you want to do it client-side, it's a bit more annoying, I guess, or you have to roll your own essentially. Having something that is isomorphic and can run on a client and on a backend is pretty damn cool. All right, let's see. If you're okay, API route, yeah, okay. So, make posts with router, loader are the backend API for the component. Yeah, okay. So essentially this is exactly what I was talking about. So it's a function that does some loading, and then this use loader data hook gets the data from it and then render it somehow, right? We'll use let, and then, okay, so there's the, yeah, so we can do some rendering. Yeah, sure, why not? We can throw in the rendering over here. Right, okay, there's some TypeScript stuff, but we can do it later. Okay, so there's, oh yeah, there's the post definitions. That is perfectly fine. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Let's copy the whole thing. Okay, so we just added some types. That is perfectly fine. We say that the loader returns posts, and then the use loader will get this array of posts, right? Okay, a little refactoring. Okay, so here where it gets interesting, right? So what is this app post TS? Okay, so let's see. Is to create a module that deals with the particular concern. Okay, so we create an app and we create a module called post TS, right? This module is going to have this bit. So okay, so this is like our essentially function that gets posts, and there's our type definition here. Okay. Which, yeah, okay. So in this case, here instead of getting the posts ourselves, we just basically do get posts. We just do that, right? Okay, cool. And then we need to import the posts. There we go. Right. Okay. Is this question for TypeScript people watching me, because I'm only like dabbling in it right now. Is there a difference between doing import thing from file and import type? Like, I know that you can do import type for types, right? But is there any difference in doing what is done right now over here, is in saying import get post and post, instead of doing like splitting it into two different things, right? So like, is it just like cosmetic difference, essentially, what people see, like what reader sees, so you can visually distinguish that, hey, this is actually a type, and then it can be somehow tree shaken, thrown away, or whatever during compilation? Yes, import type will not be included in the source code. Okay, but okay, yeah, bundle, that makes sense. But if I import it like this, it still will get tree shaken, right? Because it's a type definition, so it's not really needed. So is it just like, hey, the compiler is going to be a bit faster if you do it with import type instead? Am I understanding that correctly? I mean, I need to read about that. I know that I'm just being like lazy and asking you guys, but this is something that's been sort of bugging me, I guess, for a few weeks now since I've seen it first time. Okay. Yeah, but then it will be compiled with the bundle. Oh, okay, interesting. So it doesn't dynamically tree shake the types if you import them directly. Curious. Okay, I didn't know that. I expected it to be smart enough to sort of discard it anyway. But maybe maybe that's a bit too smart. So, okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so we create posts folder. Okay, right. So I guess we're making a Markdown posts thing. So yes, sure, let's do this. So we're gonna create a new file that is my first post Markdown. We're gonna throw in some stuff over here. We're gonna create 90s mix CTR. Yeah, sure. 90s mixtape. That's yeah, by the way, Remix has the most amazing homepage ever. If you still haven't seen it, just go and have a look at it. It's absolutely bonkers. Okay, so let's see. So we did that. Right, okay, so they're using front matter, npm add front matter. That sounds like a good idea. So we're going to be adding front matter to it. If you never worked with front matter, it's essentially like a bunch of metadata for posts that just simplifies some things. Okay, and then our post API are just going to use post. There we go. We're just going to throw it over here. So our post API is what it does is reads the folder, which is our post folder, and then goes through it and just converts files into the slug, and then attributes .title from whatever is in there. So the front matter uses this sort of header formatting where you can provide metadata and attributes to the given post. In this case, we're just giving the title there, right? So pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, and it's also promise all. So this function is async, which I assume means that the hook will not will properly handle the async functions, which is pretty good. All right, so let's see. This is Node file system tutorial. Yeah, okay, we know Node. That is fine. TypeScript is going to be embedded the code. Let's make it happy. My life with TypeScript. Okay, tiny invariant. What the hell is this? Okay, let's see. So I just started diving into TypeScript, and majority of time it's like, okay, so I write the code, I know that the code works, right? And then you're like, okay, so what do I need to do to make a TypeScript happy about this complicated typing case? All right, so we got this invariant thing, which does what? Invariant is valid attributes. Oh, so this validates, right? Okay, so basically we just to make TypeScript happy, we do additional validation step and just say, okay, we're actually going to check if there are correct attributes, and if they are correct, we'll continue. If not, then there's going to be an error, which I guess makes sense. You got to do it anyway, right? So that's a pretty good one. Hey, Code Blue, have you thought about using software and game development category instead? I mean, software development, the category should be there, but game development is definitely not fitting for what I'm streaming. So that's that. Like, did I maybe there's a question? Maybe yes, software development category is there, and web development is there, but that's definitely not category. Oh, interesting. So the problem is I haven't streamed on Twitch for past 6 months or something. I know that there's been new stuff at it. I haven't looked into that yet. Thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. So it's been like, again, last time I was streaming this, the only category that existed was the science and whatever it was called. But yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you very much. I think I will just do it next time, basically, and use that one, because that seems a lot better. Can I actually switch it dynamically? Here's a question. Wait a second. So software. Yes, I can switch it dynamically. There we go. It should be switched now. Thank you very much. That's really great that they finally added this one. Okay, cool. Let us continue looking through it. Okay, so we got the TypeScript happy by doing some validation passes, which is great. Done dynamic route params. Okay, so we want these URLs. Okay, sure. And oh, right. Okay, so now we have to define this. Why is it called $slug? Okay, let's see. So we got route posts, and then we're gonna have this $slug. Okay, right. I guess this slash here is needed because we're using command line. Otherwise, it will be escaped, which is fine. Okay, so this is our basic slug post, and by default doesn't do anything. And then we're gonna import some code. So what does this do? Okay, so the loader gets the parameters, and okay, so this basically the $slug is the parameter that whatever the page is rendered is gonna get. In our case, it's gonna be slug, right? So okay, sure. What bothers me so far is that we've been writing all this code, but where's did I miss the command to start this to actually see anything happen? Yes, I did miss it. Okay, that's totally on me. npm run dev. There we go. Okay, so let us go into the remix starter. There we go. Okay, cool. There's our post thing. There's our post already rendered, and there's our mixtape. So this is basically the slug, right? The route system is kind of interesting in comparison with Next.js. Yeah, so basically, my understanding is that the guys who developed React Router, if you ever used it, they were unhappy with, I guess, how Next.js handles routes, and I can understand that because React Router routes handling was a lot more flexible, and they just built this thing to kind of be more flexible, I guess, if you would. There is a lot more code here, a lot more boilerplate, and a lot more work required to bring it to completion, let's put it this way. And there's a lot more ways to shoot yourself in the foot, at least that's what I can see right now. But it does give you a lot more flexibility here. So that's pretty neat. Let's see where that goes. Instead of nesting everything within folders, they prefix it with $. But you can also do that in Next.js, so that's not completely fair. If you go to Next.js and you go to routing, there is apparently I cannot type dynamic routes. You got the dynamic routes, right? You can do this thing with the square brackets. This exactly works in exactly the same way. I think the major difference here is that the remix allows you to do not the nested routes, but what do you call it? Well, I mean, it's basically nested routes. So I think we're gonna get to that part. But yeah, so the basic sort of wildcard parameter-based routing, it is in Next.js. It works pretty well. Like I use it all the time whenever I work on Next.js projects because it just makes things a lot easier. But yeah. In the next we have my slug TSX and remix in my slug. What are you saying? Wait a second. Okay, I completely, right, I scrolled all the way back. Where were we? Let's see. There's our slug. Okay, so this is where we finished. In Remix, you can also use route 1 sub-routes. Yes, so this is, as far as I understood, this is sort of the cool thing is that you can have nested components based on routes the same way you had them in React Router. And this is what I'm waiting for because this is one of the sort of big features that is really missing for me, at least in Next.js. And you have to sort of reinvent it by just, copying the same route and then changing some part of the content, which is annoying as hell, to be honest. But yeah, okay, let's see. Right, so we did that. We got this thing. We rendered the slug. So this is what happens now. Okay. All right, so we got some TypeScript stuff going on. We need the function signature. Then TypeScript stops complaining. That's fine. Okay. And then, right, so this is, okay, so to posts, we're gonna add the function that reads one specific post from the slug in a very stupid way. So we're just gonna join the post's path with the slug plus MD, and then just read it, parse it with front matter, and, okay, invalidate again to make TypeScript happy and make sure all the attributes are there, and then just return the slug and title. Okay. The jokes demo has all of that. Ken see it, spend 6 hours live. Oh yeah, I've seen that Ken did the live stream with the demo and everything. So I haven't watched it yet. I have it in my backlog, so I want to watch it absolutely. But I just wanted to do like a completely hands-on experience without any background knowledge aside from what I've seen on Michael Jackson's and Ryan. God damn it, I forgot his name. So the core developers essentially tweets, because I follow them on Twitter and they shared quite a bit of the progress. But okay, let's continue looking at how this thing works. So there's our slug thing, right? So this is our, okay, so so essentially invariant. So validate that we actually get a parameter. Then we get, what is this? I need to look at this tiny invariant thing. So I assume it's just basically makes sure it exists. Is that just validates it according to something? This should not throw, this will throw. Okay, so basically you pass it a value and it then will either throw or not throw if the value is correct. That's it. Okay. I guess it's a more functional way of doing if this is broken, then throw an error, which is kind of nice actually. So maybe I will use that in my code as well. All right, so we got this, we do the post title, and yes, there is our title, right? So that works. Okay, so now we are gonna be adding marked, which is the markdown. So I'm just gonna do that types, and I mean, we can add both. Okay, let me do npm run def right away. By the way, the startup time is insane. So if you like, I mean, I guess it will be fair to say that the startup times for new Next.js is pretty similar, but purely because it's written in Rust, and like, you know, Rust is extremely fast, so they use the new Rust compiler. I think it was SWC, right? Before that, like the prior versions of Next were not as fast as this. As far as I understand, this is purely JavaScript, and man, this is blazing fast. Okay, let's see. So we got the marked compiler. Okay, so this is adding, right. So we're just gonna basically get the body and compile it to Markdown in our post thing, right? So over here, all right, I probably should import the marked itself, which sounds like a good idea. Okay, cool. So we got that, mark body, yes, slug HTML. Yeah, so basically we precompile this thing whenever we get the post, which means that then we can modify our post slug. So why is it just rendering the HTML now when we had the whole thing with the header? So I assume this is what we want to do, right? Because that makes a bit more sense to me, at least. There we go. It actually seems to be work. Oh, okay. So the title is actually included there. Right. So this is why we're doing this. Makes sense, right? So the title is included, so that we're just doing this, and there's our, yeah, this thing is damn fast, is what I want to say. Like, next year, I don't know, does it compile all the routes? It can be, right? So it has to compile them live, because otherwise it's too rebuilding, even if like 54 milliseconds. What the hell? Anyway, I need to look under the hood for this stuff, because I'm really curious how the hell is it so fast. Hey Memphis, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I've been really weird and really busy up until now. Nah, that's the problem. It wasn't a full-time job. If it was a full-time job, I would be streaming a whole lot more. It was just a year of a complete mess, let's put it this way. All right, creating blog posts. Okay, so, oh yeah, right, that's an interesting thing. So how do they handle stuff like post and everything? Okay, cool. Let's do the admin TSX. Okay, up routes, admin TSX, sure. So this is our admin routes, and let's see, what does it do? So we got user, so this is the loader, we got the post, we got the get the posts. Okay, so this just renders the posts for now. Okay. Admin styles, right? We haven't actually used styles up until now at all, aside from including the default ones, right? So let's see, is it just as simple as like, hey, I'm just gonna import the styles? Yeah, so oh, you have to, okay, so the pages can also have this links array that they export that will be rendered as the link tags in the header, right? Interesting. All right, app routes, admin index TSX, okay. After Svelte Kit, I don't seek wonder any other framework. I mean, I still think Svelte is, I mean, it's nice, but I honestly prefer React over it, just because it has a bigger ecosystem. Like, Svelte is nice and everything, but the moment you need something basically, you know, a bit more complex, in React you just go and pick up an existing library. In Svelte, there's chances are you're gonna have to build it yourself. At least that was my experience with it when I like poked around. Okay, so we got outlet thing that we have to throw in here. Okay, so we just basically say, okay, this is gonna be right. So outlets can be nested in other pages as well. Interesting. So this is how they handle the nested routing then, right? So they sort of say, okay, so this is the page, and then there's going to be outlet, and if there is a fitting route, which I guess in this case is going to be admin index TS, this is going to be rendered in there. That is really cool. Okay. I mean, I guess we need, okay, yeah, so let's do the new tier. Let's set up the routes first, and then we can link to this admin page. I probably should, hold up, we're not going to do actions now. I probably should link, so I can close this. I can close post, we don't need that anymore. So I can add the link to admin panel somewhere here, right? Okay, whoops, that should say admin. And theoretically, we should now see this admin thing. Yep. And then, yeah, okay. So the outlet thing is really damn cool. And if we do that, it routes it and it still renders the admin panel, but it only changes the rendering for the nested element, which is, this is one of the features that I think I missed most in the Next.js. So basically what you have to do in Next.js, you have to create 2 pages that do the same, or create a catch-all, which is more annoying, I think, than multiple pages. With the same layout. But yeah, so this is a very cool solution, very similar to how the React router did it, but on, you know, full framework scale, I guess. Okay, so let's see how they handle the actions, posts, and everything. Okay, so Remix has forms by default, which is really damn impressive, to be honest. Like, this is something that normally you just, you know, offload to third-party components, right, and say, okay, we are gonna handle rendering, server-side rendering, whatever, and then if you want forms or whatever, you just go take Formic or whatever, the other form validation library, right? The fact that you have this out of the box is really damn awesome. Okay. All right, let's see how do they suggest handling that. So we got this post. Yeah, so we create a create post function, which I assume is just gonna write stuff to hard drive, right? Why does it have implicit any? We have the post, yes, Slack title, and I guess we have to extend this, so this should probably say Markdown string. Thank you very much, pilot. And this is going to be post, and that should be it, right? And this probably should be, I keep forgetting, is it this way, right? So it's optional Markdown. Okay. All right. That looks fine. Yeah. All right. So what does it do is basically just says, okay, the title is whatever is the title, and then pastes the Markdown below, and then just writes it to the files. And if as here is first promises, okay, cool. Yeah, that seems straightforward. Now, how do we actually send that request? Okay, so we do that action, and then there is our new post thing. So let's copy that and then explore it from the top. Okay. So form redirect. Okay, so there's our action. What is action and where does this come from? That's it. Remix will take care of the rest. We'll take off the... Okay, there's a typo in the documents. I need to submit a pull request if I don't forget about that. Probably should read through all of that. It's like I'm just skipping through parts because I want to, you know, have a look at other code, but I probably should read the description as well. Okay, so what is this action and how does it work? Is there a description somewhere? Action function. Okay, so there's some TypeScript stuff. We already did the Markdown thing. Okay, so there's the action function type definition, which is function. So that should be that, right? Create post. Okay, so and then why are you not happy with that? Form data entry or null is unassignable. Okay, so I have to... Oh, okay, right. So we got to do errors. Right. Okay. So whoops. No. Copilot, I don't need your help now. Error title, yes, no, that's fine. And then 10. Okay. So hold up. Notice we don't return or redirect this time. We actually return errors. Okay, return errors. Yes. Okay. So there's still this problem here, so it doesn't like those types. Okay, so we do, this is our error handling. Okay, so does it, wait a second. So will it, let me just paste the new post. So, okay, let me finish the whole thing, I guess. There's our invariant, yes, and then redirect admin. So this is our, why are you complaining? All right, because I haven't imported invariant. There you go. Okay, now it should stop complaining, but it only complains about this, which, yeah, there's the type doesn't exist. Is there explanation of, I mean, I guess I can define my own custom type, but that sounds, is it an overkill or not? I'm not sure. Okay, to the action function. Okay, so there's a timeout just to fake the delay. I mean, we don't really care about that. I mean, okay, right. So this is done for transition. So let's do it as well. Why not? So we throw it in here. Whoops, and there we go. So we fake a 1 second delay. Then, okay, did we do the errors thing over here? Yes, we did, and I forgot to import that thing. Okay, use transition. So there are baked in transition hooks. And then creating posts. Right. And then this is the button. Transition. And we can also say that it's disabled if transition submission, right? What are you? Action submission is not assignable to Boolean submission. I mean, I guess I can do this, right? So I can just force it to Boolean and say, hey, if this is truthy, then we're going to disable the button, right? Okay, how much is left? Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, right, so let's see. Let's have a look at the code. All right, so the action itself is basically, it gets the request. I assume, what kind of request is this? Can I get the type? This is Fetch API. Okay, so this is a fetch request. Interesting. Hey Stravos, welcome to the stream. All right, so we get the request. We can get form data from it. I assume you can get the JSON body or whatever the same way, right? I missed your videos. I mean, I miss streaming as well, but you know, I'm gonna be doing this more regularly from now on. It also seems like YouTube and Twitch are not happy with my stream quality. So like, guys, again, if there's issues with the current live stream, please do let me know. I will have to tweak the parameters because it seems like my new setup is not quite working out, I guess. Or maybe it's just the technical information from Twitch and YouTube that are not good. I'm not sure. Anyway. Okay, going back to the code. So we get the data, okay, so you can literally just return errors. What do you need if you return like JSON or whatever? So this use, okay. So use, right. So we actually just return data. It doesn't matter which data. So we can very well do this, right? And say the data is undefined. And then this is basically then gonna be errors data. And then you can do whatever the hell you want. Okay, cool. Got it. So use action data literally uses whatever you return from the action itself. That's a neat approach. Okay. And then, okay, create post, and then we redirect back to admin, which will refresh the thing and allow us to see the new post. So theoretically, if we go here, go create new post, test, and then test markdown. Hello world, right? So that should create a new post. Yep, that works. No, it's not. Okay, why did we screw up somewhere in the path? So there's a test MD. Okay. Title test. Yeah, that seems fine, right? So why, what? Did it not? Okay, interesting. Why is this happening? Let errors action data. Okay, so this is the old error. So why is it? So this is, it says 404. So this slug for whatever reason. Post user, okay, loader data, get post. So this is, why does it says that it's not found? Wait a second. Maybe, is it just cache or something? Yeah. Oh. Right, because right, okay, so the posts, okay, I figured it out. Because the admin panel we have, the least, this is the admin panel. Posts, yeah, so this should be, it should lead us to the posts, not the admin panel, right? Because it renders, so this should be posts/slug. There we go, this is the problem. Okay, so that should fix it. And there we go. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, theoretically, I guess we want to have editing of them, but that's fine. Do you think Remix Run can compete with Next.js giant that gathers all the money? I mean, we're gonna see. So I can definitely see that there are some use cases where Remix is gonna be a lot more fitting, right? So like this nested stuff like here with subviews is something that is extremely annoying to do in Next.js. And while Next.js, yes, it has a pretty big financial backing, you never know. Like in some cases, it would be better to just pick that, right? And I think Remix is one of the things that I found to be absolutely fascinating about it is the fact that you can deploy it to like to the edge, basically, stuff like Cloudflare Workers, right? So this is sort of the edge it has, if you would, which is a absolutely dumb pun, but there we go. Okay, so what else do we have here? Let's see, conventions, entry files. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, so there's our description of router P. So we got the loader, we got the action, enter meta. There's this jokes app, right? This, as far as I understand, this is sort of a lot bigger than the developer blog, I guess we did. I guess I can probably commit that because why not? So we essentially just went through the tutorial. Let me add all of that. Git commit, finish basic blog tutorial. Okay. What I'm interested in right now is seeing how that interacts with other stuff like GraphQL, I guess. But I mean, I guess that wouldn't be a problem, right? So what I'm more interested in is understanding stuff like loaders and actions. So can I, like, loader, I assume loader is just offloaded to basically run wherever. So it could be both server and client side. Here's the question, wait a second. So if I enable my ad block and if I disable the scripts here, that should still work, right? Yeah, whoops, of course. I mean, it should work if the server is running. Let's put it this way. Okay, that works. Yes, it does. So you literally don't need JavaScript to make this work, which is even nested routes, which is really damn impressive. Okay, that just takes us to the docs. I don't like, I mean, with the this is another big difference, right? The Next.js takes approach of server-side rendering, so you render stuff on server-side, and then you hydrate it, and if the hydration fails, majority of your website just won't work, right? In this case, it's actually a good question. So if I just disable that and I go create post, test node.js post. Let's call it test and then test Markdown. So if I try to create a post, theoretically, this is just a form, right? And theoretically, I should be able to post it and create it anyway, even if I have JavaScript disabled, because again, it's just a form. And if we do that, it does work. So it doesn't really need JavaScript for anything, it seems, which is really damn cool. Okay. Yeah, so this is again another big difference between Next.js and Remix, because in Next.js, it's basically up to you to design your forms or buttons or whatever to work without JavaScript, if that's one of your use cases. And here it seems like it's just built in a way that gives this to you for free, essentially, or almost for free. I also like that they have only one type of compiling. I think Next.js 3 different types. Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? That's a good point. Let's have a look. So I'm not gonna, maybe, I mean, okay, anyway. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another app. Yes, install this. And we're gonna have a look. Exploring Remix tool, whatever. So I'm interested how it looks like if you deploy it to, say, Versal, right? Because it's a very specific target. I wonder if they do any optimizations or stuff like this. So there's, yeah, okay, I want to see 3 deployment targets. I want to see Versal, because technically it's just Lambdas on steroids, right? I want to see Amazon Lambdas and I want to see Cloudflare Workers. So those 3 are quite interesting for me. Okay, come on now. Exploring Remix tool. Let me fire up the code here. Dock it to the left. Okay, API. Right, so I guess this is the API routes, and they have their own specific remix run Versal. So this is their handler that basically does everything, right? And then you got, I assume the app looks exactly the same. Okay, so they just have this sort of lean runtimes, I guess, for all the platforms. Is that how it works? Okay, wait a second. Let's try. Let me go back and PX. Let's do exploring remix 3, right? And let's try Lambda. Because if they manage to basically say, hey, we're going to deploy the same thing to like 5 different platforms and all that's going to be different is this one tiny loader, it's freaking amazing. All right, let's see. Come on now. Codes. Yeah, the package difference seems to be somewhat significant, but yes, the command line, the website, the trailer they made is very fancy, so that's pretty great. Okay, so Lambda stuff is a bit different. So there's our Lambda. Yeah, it seems like they literally just have the different handlers for different platforms. There's your arc config, and then the app is exactly this. This is so damn elegant, like, man. And they even have the arc CLI thingy, so you can like run it locally if you want to. That is really, really cool. Okay. Let's check out the Cloudflare Workers, because this is sort of the case that is exploring Remix 4. So the Cloudflare Workers is drastically different from all the other platforms, right? Because Versal is sort of a simplified Amazon Lambda, basically, right? Lambda is, well, Lambda, your isolated functions. And then Cloudflare Workers is something that is entirely different from all of that. And I am curious as to how that would actually look. Okay, so there's the app, there's the worker. Yeah, they literally just have a remix run Cloudflare Workers runtime, and it just handles the fetch requests and does everything for you. Like, this is crazy. Holy crap. Okay, I'm impressed. Like, you can literally, so if you want to deploy your app on a different environment, all you need is literally this one correct wrapper, right? Which is, holy crap. If you ever try to do this with Versal, it is a lot more than that. So yeah, this is some really impressive engineering work, to be honest. Okay, let me see. Exploring Remix, yes. Okay, yes, we don't need that anymore. What I wanted to try is, so let me think. So we've already seen how the nested routes work. We've seen how the forms work. Again, my mind is a bit blown that it's just the form works without JavaScript or anything like that. If you just disable all the scripts, it still loads and handles everything correctly. Like, this is insane to me, especially, you know, after working so long on like Vue and React, where everything breaks the moment you turn off scripts. Okay, first things first, let me just create an exploring. I'm trying to think if there is exploring React framework. So what I'm trying to figure out is if there is any React specific things that I've had problems with in Next.js. I remember, like, usually majority of pain is related to server-side rendering and the components that do not support that. But I honestly don't remember from the top of my head. Okay, so wait a second. Next.js issue with component server-side rendering is generally stuff like, you know, that is enhanced on the front end too much, like editors or whatever. Let me think. Next.js issue. Yeah, like D3, for example. That's true. So there is, if I remember correctly, rendering D3.js on the server was quite a pain in the ass. Yes, you know what? Let's see. So what? React D3 tree. Okay, so React component to create interactive D3 graphs. Is there like a very, yeah, there you go. There's a simple let's try this. So I'm curious, will that like literally just work out of the box with server-side rendering and everything? Because this is sort of, again, you know, at least in my experience, this was the biggest pain working with Next.js. When you take when you take a package for React that works perfectly fine in something like create React app, and then you have to work around the server-side rendering because on the server side it's not just working, right? So you have to like either dynamically load it only on client side or create some specific server side code that renders it into something and then shows that something in there or whatever, which usually ends up being quite a pain in the ass. All right, so let's see. We can, we can throw it into, no, you know what? Let's not throw it into the admin page. Let's just create a new one and call it D3TSX. And I'm just going to copy the, do we need the, no, admin is smaller, right? So we're just going to do that. We don't need any loaders or anything like that. D3 test, and we don't need that. Okay, so we don't actually need outlet as well. So we just need the three. Why can't I say tree? We just need a tree thing. There you go. Okay, so this is what we want, and then this is what we want to render over here, right? Kill that. Okay. Wait a second. What did I miss? So there was a link and outlet. Okay, yeah, no, we don't need that. We can just go with a basic component, and now we need to link that from the root, for example. I guess we can just kill those things because we don't really need them. Link to D3, right? D3 test. Okay. Web the link. Okay, npm run dev. Okay, I'm very curious how that will work out. So if we go here, reload, there's our T3 test. Okay, so this renders without issues. Well, obviously, the canvas is a bit broken because it's a bit too tiny. I mean, we can make it bigger. Not a big deal. And just make it 100%. Would that work? Never know with those libraries if they handle the relative heights correctly. Probably not. Let's do it 100 EM or something to be very big. And we can say background color, color to be white, right? So just, it's way too big. 50 EM both. Is that good enough? So something that we can see. Okay, that's, why is it no longer draggable? I think I broke something. 20 EM. So that was the original stuff, and it's, oh, is it because of the live refresh? No. Why did it all of a sudden stop working with the dragging? Hold up. Hold up. If I revert all of that, that was the original, right? And it's no longer drag and dropping. What's up with D3? All the frameworks support that lib. D3 is absolutely amazing if you need to, well, render really any complex graphics. It's very easy to use. It's very performant because it's basically just SVGs. And yeah, I mean, I would absolutely recommend it if you need any sort of visualization. I'm not sure why the dragging stopped working. Is there any errors or something? ID did not match. Okay, so there are some React errors here. Prop ID did not match server client. Interesting. Okay, so question number 1, if we disable JavaScript. Right, so it does work, but obviously D3 doesn't render because it's dynamic and it does it on the fly, right? So you have to have D3 running to actually render D3 charts, but it doesn't seem like there's any issues with it. I wonder, like, can you wait a second? Server-side rendering, is there? Did it even do server-side rendering? Accessibility, fetch, React Router 6. Okay, so it is based on React Router, but that explains quite a lot, actually. Model constraints, conventions. Okay. Server builds. I mean, they don't really speak about server-side rendering anywhere, right? So I assume that's not what they do, and it's more like progressive enhancement then. As in they render whatever the DOM is and then progressively add functionality, because this is what it looks like, right? So if you kill all the JavaScript, you still get everything rendered as it was supposed to be, but you just don't get the JavaScript executed, which is kind of expected, right? But it doesn't break in any weird ways as it as it tends to do in Next.js. Okay, so this is just a quick start with a developer blog. Deep dive, convention remix. Yeah, okay. Okay, public path builds, file name conventions, entry. Oh yeah, there you go. There's the entry files. We haven't actually looked at that. So yeah, okay. So the client just hydrates stuff. The server, on the other hand, is remix server. So this is entry point for remix app is rendered on the server. So I guess they do have some sort of a server-side rendering then, right? So it's just probably not complete, as in it doesn't replicate the client side completely, which makes perfect sense. Otherwise, it would be slow as hell. Generate HTTP response when rendering on the server. Okay. Yeah, right. So somewhat similar to what Next.js does, but a bit different, as in a way that it doesn't break when you try to fit it the modules that don't actually work on server side. Which is, I guess, fair. I do like this approach a lot more because it basically removes the headaches of trying to figure out why the hell does this lib breaks when you when you do the server-side rendering and why it works when you do the client-side rendering. Okay, what else do I want to know about it? Well, I mean, we figured that part out. So the D3 works. Let me just commit it, I guess. Git adds git commit adds D3 test. Okay, sign the commit. All right, what else is there? Let me think for a second. So what kind of issues, Next.js issue with component? Yeah, let's see. What I don't like, what other issues do you guys usually have with Next.js? Because I like the one that I mostly encounter and the one that I mostly remember is this thing with like, hey, this component doesn't render on server side, so you have to like figure out how to properly load it only on client side or whatever, and then during server side rendering just show a placeholder or whatever, you know, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. Let me think. Was there anything else there? I don't think so, right? So I don't remember. I mean, we can try to throw in something like Apollo GraphQL, I guess. Hey Kevin, welcome to the stream. Good to see you again as well. Like it's been too damn long. All right, let's try to throw in the Apollo client and see how that works out because I'm curious. So let's see. Just gonna create a new route. Let's call it bxjs tsx. So this is gonna be our bxjs. We're gonna take bxjs weekly endpoint and just render it. Okay, bxjs posts, I guess. Let's call it this way. Just gonna do the diff for now. That is fine. And then we're gonna add it to the over here because why not? So I think it's gonna be the last thing that we will try out because I honestly can't think of anything else to try out because yeah, so as I said, my main gripe with Next.js is sort of the nested routing, which this solves brilliantly, and then the server-side rendering breaking stuff, which again, this thing does not do, which is kind of cool. Kind of cool? No, that's kind of cool is what I'm trying to say. All right, so let's see. We got Apollo. Yes, there's our clients. Right. Okay, let's do the... I guess we can just do it in here, right? So I don't think... and we can... This, okay, there's the client. And why is it pointing to sandbox? We want bxjs dev, and then what was the GraphQL endpoint? Oh boy, hell if I remember. GraphQL, no. God, I don't remember the GraphQL endpoint for the bxjs. Just a second, let me, what does it send requests to? There you go, there it is. Right, it was GraphQL bxjs.dev, of course. So we're gonna throw that in here. Okay, cool. Close that. And then, yes, so we need to set up the whole thing with Apollo provider. I mean, I guess in this case, so obviously you normally want to have providers somewhere. I guess we can probably define the component or something. Okay, let's see. Apollo provider. There's Apollo provider. And then it needs the, whoops. Needs, no, not children. It needs the client, right? It needs the client. Let me have a look at the chat. What's your favorite tech stack for the full stack solution that includes the both front end and back end? I mean, as of right now, it's essentially Next.js and what do you call it? Hasura on the backend, because Hasura as a backend is just freaking magic. Like you literally just take it and you got a complete backend out of the box without any need to do additional work. So yes, I'll take that any day of the week essentially. Why you? No, thank you. I don't need another provider. Okay, cool. So we got this post thing. So we can do posts over here. And then clients. Oh, yeah, right. So we can just do use query then, right? So we can do, okay, I'm just going to throw this in here. And this is going to be bxjs posts. We're going to import GQL from, I believe it is Apollo client as well, right? So we can just do that. The other hot platforms besides Supabase. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Supabase, but I honestly like it's the same as, you know, the Firebase or any other of those sort of backend as a service. They tend to be very limiting. And the moment you need any sort of custom business logic that is not very simple, you're not gonna have a good time. Let's just put it this way. Hasura, on the other hand, is built around custom logic. So it's very easy to extend. At least that's, you know, in my experience of working with it for the past year, I guess, or maybe even more. So yes, absolutely take Hasura over just about anything out there, at least at this stage, you know, of my career, I guess. Let's put it this way. All right, so let's see. Data, episodes. I mean, yeah, I guess we should probably call it episodes. There's our use query. There's our bxjs post. So I assume it's just gonna work, right? And it's ig name. Gonna be ig, and then this is gonna be ig, and this is gonna be name, and this probably is gonna work exactly as we expect it to. npm run dev. I would be surprised if this is not working. Right, I think I didn't insert. Did I insert? Oh yes, right, cache, of course. Yep, that does work perfectly fine. Question, does it fetch? No, probably it doesn't fetch anything on the backend, right? Yeah, okay. So this is now not fetching anything on the backend because we're not using the whole, what was it called? Let's try to make it loader. Yeah, right. So this is what we want. Here's the question. Here's the cool thing, right? So we get this loader thing and we gotta get use loader from Remix. Am I understanding this correctly that you don't actually need? So loader data const error data. So we can just do that, right? And yep. And then loader would basically, we don't question, can I just do that? I assume loader doesn't actually have access to the context or anything like that, right? So I bet that's probably not going to fly. Yeah, okay, of course. That makes perfect sense. Invalid hook call. Hook's going to be called inside. Yeah, okay, so that's not executed there. But that doesn't matter because we can just literally say clients query. Whoops. No, that's not what I want. Client query, and then query is gonna be bxjs posts, right? And does it return something different? Data, hold up. So it returns results. I forgot what it returns. Oh, right. We have to await that, of course. Whoops, no. It's going to be a wait. It's going to be a sync. And then I guess, yeah, so now it's exactly what we expected. So we no longer care about loading. We can just do that, which means that in this case, we no longer need all of that code. Okay. That saves us a lot of things. And I assume if we disable, so if we reload now, we get the list. And if I disable JavaScript, we're still going to get the list because it is now fetched on the server side. This is really cool. I'm really digging the way it's built. Okay, and obviously we can abstract this, the clients and loaders into a separate subsystem, I guess, that works with data fetching, even not just GraphQL, it can be anything. And then essentially this use loader data replaces whatever you use for data handling. That is really cool. I am really liking how that's built. Okay, so it still complains about the episodes, but yeah, that's fine. That's it. Does have some really good things in there. So odd example with GraphQL. All right, I guess let me just push it to the repository. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions or suggestions or things you want me to try out here, do send them into the chat now. If not, we can wrap it up here and then hopefully continue next week. So, you know, I'm going to try getting back into schedule again and stream a bit more and yeah, see how that goes basically. Okay, cool. So there's some readme. Yeah, I guess I should probably update the readme to something more BXJS weekly like, or BXJS like, I guess. There is, yes, let's go with this one. But yes, I am liking what I'm seeing a lot so far. And you know what? I should probably try using Cloudflare Workers because I've read a lot about them and they seem like an absolutely awesome tool. But I've never got around to trying them out essentially. Okay, Remix, Explore Remix, materials for exploring Remix. So I need a video link, which should be somewhere. Where does it? It's in the Discord, right? I know it's in the Discord. By the way, if you want to join Discord, you can join our Discord, and I am there, and I should be there a lot more from now on, essentially. So if you have any questions or want to try things out or chat about any of that, I will be more than happy to do so. Remix, new React framework. I apparently cannot type. A new React framework, okay. So apparently I didn't even bother to do that there. Okay, so I think we just throw in the remix run here. YouTube channel, Discord, yeah, that's all fine. MIT license, is it MIT over here? No, it is not. We're gonna say MIT, thank you very much. And this is gonna say exploring remix. And I think we're good. All right. Did I? Yes, I did. Okay, update, read. All right. So doesn't seem like any of you have any questions. So I guess there was like a nice hour or so of stream, if I remember correctly. Yes. So I guess we can just wrap it up here. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support and I guess for waiting for me to come back basically. And yeah, let's see how that continues from now on. So Remix looks pretty damn interesting. Again, if you have any questions, suggestions, or maybe I misunderstood some things or missed some things, feel free to join our Discord and tell me there. I'm more than happy to learn from you. And yes, I guess I'll see you next week for some more coding. Enjoy the rest of the week.